Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody has had a blessed weekend. I know Debbie and me have had housefuls of company, family, such very, very special times.
Yes, it is. Making memories.
Making memories. Yeah, very, very much so. And golly, this is December the 30th already.
Doesn't seem possible.
New Year's Eve is tomorrow night. And
that was kind of what Pastor Ross was talking about yesterday in church. It's the 30th. Well, we was talking about calendars and all the different kinds of calendars, and you know how we flip the pages all year long, and then all of a sudden we're in December and we're thinking, where did the year go?
365 days. Where did they go? What did we do?
And that's kind of hard to remember. I mean, there's so much going on in our lives. There's so much going on in our children's lives and our grandchildren.
And in the life of the church.
Oh,
There's a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a year full of new change, and change is so hard. And new beginnings, it feels like change. And so it's like, we feel like we're stepping out onto a tightrope.
A tightrope?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yesterday in Sunday school, Debbie, I didn't hear the question. I heard the answers. Can you share what that question was, or sort of what that question was?
There were two questions. And the first question was, what did we accomplish this last year? And which of those things that we accomplished or progress we made do we want to take with us into the new year? And what is our goals? What is our desires, and what do we want out of a new year? We have the old stuff that we built on that we can take with us, but what new things do we want to build on? What new things do we want to acquire? Not necessarily things, but qualities.
Qualities.
Yes, and things we desire in our relationship with God.
Well, and so the answers, I guess it's kind of the age that we are.
Yes.
Or it could be any age, though. But so many around the table shared that they wanted to spend more time with family. And to me, that with my three girls, we had already decided no adult gifts because we don't need stuff. What we need is time, and that we would get together on a regular basis, intentional, not just, oh, hey, what's going on this weekend? Make it intentional so that we plan and spend that time together. And I thought it was interesting that so many said the same thing.
Well, and the other thing that people were really praying for or desiring was health. Because if you have time and you want to do these things and spend time with each other, it's a requirement that you be healthy. And it's hard when you're not healthy to enter into the spirit of togetherness.
Mm-hmm. Physically healthy, spiritually healthy, and a healthy mind. So you got to have it all. You got to have your mind, you got to have your heart, you got to have the body, everything has to be
in sync,
and as strong as it can be. So the new beginnings, and I know several people also mentioned they wanted a stronger, more intentional relationship with God. And
Set aside time for meditation, for personal prayer time, for whatever it is that you do that brings you closer to God. It could be a walk in nature. Um, I mean, people out walking and you can hear the birds, see the trees, feel the wind. I mean, those
could be sitting in quiet time, just listening, like
smell the smells.
Smell the smells. Watch the snowfall tomorrow night.
How many people light candles at home or have essential oils or things that have aroma, because aroma is such a powerful internal, you process it internally, and it's interesting how each of us is affected by that.
The aromas, those smells from different candles from the kitchen when something is in the oven.
It's amazing how that will summon people. It's almost like, come on down.
come on down. But it takes you back to childhood, or and when I smell chicken frying, it takes me immediately to not Kentucky Fried kind of chicken, but cast iron skillet kind. It takes me back to my grandparents. My that was one of the very vivid pictures I have in my mind of my grandmother on my dad's side. Frying chicken for the family on Sunday after church. But those sensory things that are so important to us,
like touch. Touch is another thing. It's pat a child on the head or stroke their hair or on the shoulder. Those are loving things that I remember from my family, because we were a touchy family.
And I was a little frazzled yesterday, and I had sat down in the pew because I don't remember, I was going to talk to somebody, and I thought, I didn't get my hug yet from Brinley. And here I heard her coming down the aisle, and she just threw her arms up and gave me a big hug. And it's like, okay, all is well with the world. Those hugs, those personal contact. And I think over the last week, I would say, how many times I was so blessed with so many hugs from the grandkids and from my children, and my extended family, from Jim's family yesterday. It was wonderful. And I know I am very blessed. I'm very fortunate that I am in that situation. And I know that there are those who are listening that don't have that. And I want to just reach out and give you a big hug, because it is so important.
Yes, that was kind of like what we were doing during the pandemic, because it was so recent. It's fresh in our memories, where we had to live on virtual hugs versus
These
the physical. Yeah.
And sometimes you have to give yourself a hug.
It was so hard in that way for me as a social person. I mean, I require a certain amount of socialization. Otherwise, I'm just not, pleasant.
What do you mean I have to stay at home? What do you mean?
I mean, by myself or with you, again.
Oh, golly. So I guess, how do we set up those times that we have to make an intentional plan, an intentional effort to spend more time with family, to develop that relationship with God, to make that stronger, to slow down and take care of ourselves. Because like we were talking before, and Debbie said, if we don't take care of ourselves and we aren't strong physically, spiritually, and emotionally, we can't take care of somebody else. We can't help pull them up.
We can't pour from an empty well.
That is, yes.
And
We
this
have to
morning,
keep filling it.
I hope everyone has a coffee cup that you can fill yourself up with if you've been, a little bit running dry because you've been so busy. And I hope now that we can take a little bit of time and be a little less busy because our activities are going to gradually slow down. Family will be going home and we'll be at home again, and take that time and think of it as a blessing. Because while there were many blessings when we had the busy and when we had the family, now is the time where we fill ourselves up again, so that when we meet again, we can each fill up each other. But fill yourself up now while it's quiet.
And I read this article that was written by Barton Goldsmith. He is an award-winning psychotherapist and humanitarian. He's written 8 books, and it's a lot about self-care. And I thought, wow, it was even titled "A Time of New Beginnings: Embrace Happiness." And some of the things that he points out: may you find peace of mind, even if just for a few moments a day. That has to be intentional, because when we're so busy doing, we don't stop. We don't stop. Life is so much easier if you feel good about yourself and what you are doing. Don't let bad circumstance create a bad life. Peace really does come from within, and you can find it if you just take a little time to look. It's right there, and you don't even have to unwrap it. He wrote this just before Christmas. I thought, yeah. And peace of mind, you can find peace of mind in your devotions and just listening. Debbie and I like to be quiet and listen sometimes.
I don't know that our husbands would necessarily agree with that. But yeah. And sometimes my family that knows me well. I have to admit, I have to be honest. I struggle with finding time for listening, and I have to admonish myself internally in group settings. Listen, stop talking. I'm constantly having that inner conversation so that I can take part and listen in the moment. And I've done pretty good with that over time. It's taking me a lot of time to get to where I do that, where I just intentionally stop and listen to what's going on around me so I can truly hear.
Right.
And be present with that person.
And a lot of times, almost always, that means clear your mind, because how many thoughts are in there just running around crazy wild, but you have to focus.
Well, the thing is, I've always found that I listen to everything going on around me, and I hear a word here, I hear a thought there, I hear another word over here, and I never focus on one. And it's like, so I'm constantly responding to everything that's going around me, but that doesn't necessarily make it good quality responses
Right.
or intentional, well thought out responses. Then that's something that I personally am going to be working on some more.
Well, and that kind of an environment drains your, just drains you. You don't have anything, you just feel like you don't have anything left to give.
And you don't take away anything quality. You don't take in the message for you, and you just get pieces of it. You never get the whole message. So you wonder why you're never quite there. It's because you're responding to all the
Too much.
Stimulus in your life.
Too much stimulus. So the second thing was, I wish you love the greatest healer. The love in your life is a gift that can't be purchased. Some people who don't have love in their lives but want it may make up excuses and try to blow it off. Don't believe them, because everybody needs love. Everybody needs somebody that can support them and help them, give you those hugs, those words of affirmation. And then may your community offer you support and understanding. And that's, community is not the place where the city that you live in. Community is your friends, your church, maybe it is your neighbors, your family. And then how can we serve our community as well?
I love the story that Roma shared, Jim's sister, at Sunday school, about her neighbor and how she has become more present in her neighbor's life, and how that has, helped her grow, developed a close friendship. And even though there's an age difference, she has built a strong friendship with that person. And I thought to myself, they're filling each other up. It's what we do for each other.
Yeah. Well, and that's what Carolyn said yesterday morning too, that her friend needs her more, and that she is able to step up and to do what her neighbor or what her friend needs for her to do, and just to be there, just to listen, just to share a meal,
or take in the trash can for her,
or take in the trash can, or take it out. Well,
yes, and that's a simple thing, but that blesses someone. A small act like that can be huge for the other person.
Yeah. And then the other thing that he says, I wish you the gift of forgiveness. And I think that is one of the things that is on my list for adding to 2025. Forgiveness. Let it go. Let it go. Let God and let it go.
Bring me new beginnings. I think that's what we're kind of asking for. We're asking for new beginnings.
And so, I challenge you that are listening, and Debbie, I challenge you, go to the internet and search references to new beginnings in the Bible. I was amazed what it was pulling up. So Matthew 7:7, yes, ask, and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. What better beginning? Just ask. Knock and it will be opened to you. 2 Corinthians 5:17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And Philippians 4:13. This is one we need to remember every morning of every day of 2025. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Because without the mind, the heart, and the physical, if we don't have God's strength within us, we can't help anybody else.
No, you're absolutely right about that, Sue. And I also found, when I did a little bit of a search just a minute ago, Genesis.
Yes,
Talk about beginnings.
in the beginning.
God confirms his covenant. Then God blessed Noah and his sons and told them, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, all the animals of the earth, all the birds of the sky, all the small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the fish in the sea will look on you with fear and terror. I have placed them in your power. I have given them to you for food, just as I had given you grain and vegetables. And that's in the beginning. I mean, look at all the things he did
In the beginning.
in the beginning because he loved us.
And Lamentations 3:22 through 24. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore, I will hope in him.
How many songs have we heard with those words? I mean, I'm sure there are several in the hymnal. And
Yeah.
then there's Deuteronomy 3:23 through 25. At the same time, I begged God, God, my master, you let me in on the beginnings. You let me see your greatness. You let me see your might. What God in heaven or earth can do anything like what you've done? Please let me in also on the endings. Let me cross the river and see the good land at Jordan, the lush hills and the Lebanon mountains. But I like the first part more than the last part. I can wait for the endings. I want to live in the beginnings at this point in my life. So
Right.
I'm going to pray that God keeps bringing us all new beginnings.
I pray that too. For everyone, regardless of where we are in our life, regardless of what our situation is, that we focus. We have to focus and be intentional about our relationship with God in this new year. This new year isn't, the days aren't different than last year. It's us who are different, and we need to make those choices. Am I going to be happy with just carrying 2024 forward? Or is there stuff I need to leave behind? What do I want to take with me? What do I need to add or start doing in 2025?
It's kind of like we carry around all our negativity in a sack, and we have it slung over our shoulder, and we're dragging it around with us. And if we take a few of those boulders out and leave them by the side of the road and only keep the precious stones, keep the things that are important, the things that renew us, our sack would be way lighter and our burden way less if we just kept the good and got rid of that which drags us down.
And the good, talking about the gunny sack on your back, the good stuff doesn't weigh anything. There's no weight to the good stuff. And that's what we want to keep. The bad stuff, the negative.
The joy. We want to keep the joy.
Keep the joy. Keep the hope. Keep the love. Keep the peace.
Yes.
Oh, those are familiar words.
We want to take Advent with us into the new year.
Oh, that's it. We want to take Advent with us.
But it's hard to remember to keep Christmas all year. So Christmas was a time of reminding us of all the things that we have. And that we are blessed every day, even if we're in the ordinary time of the liturgical calendar, whether we're in Lent, whether we're in uh, Pentecost, any of those things, we can remember some of these things and take them with us, and keep an eye on the exercise class. If you want to renew your body and spirit, our exercise class is something that you might want to take part in each week with Carol Schwartz.
Tuesday at 1:00.
It's important to keep yourself healthy in mind and body, and she's doing her part to help. So we want to always encourage her and encourage ourselves to participate.
And Pat Bounds has a faith and friendship group that meets on the first Wednesday of the month at noon. I think that's Wednesday. Oh, don't hold me to that. We'll clarify that for you next week.
And we're going to keep you posted on what's coming up for Lent, because we'll be entering Lent right after Epiphany, not far. And so be sure and stay tuned for further announcements.
Yes, for what's happening at First United Methodist Church. One of the things that Pastor Ross talked about yesterday, he challenged us. Every time he gives us a message, he challenges us with something. But he wants us to determine what skills has God given us. And then, I was going to say that probably is the easier part of the challenge. How do we use those skills in God's kingdom? How do we use our skills in 2025, our talents, the gifts?
Well, and the thing about that is, I think that a lot of people wonder what their gifts are. And I can't help but think that perhaps that's a new challenge for our church this coming year, is to do a gift study. So help people define their gifts. Just because you think you have a certain gift does not mean that you don't have anything else, that you don't have other things that God is hoping you're going to, water and take care of and develop. So I think that, Pastor Lydia, perhaps we should study about the gifts and determine and do some learning about what our gifts are and what we can do to use them in our church. Because we're all in our church for a reason. We all bring something different to the table. And maybe we could work more efficiently if we had confidence in what our gifts were, rather than wondering, I wonder what my gift's at. I don't think I have that gift. Those are conversations we all have with ourselves. So let's add that for 2025.
I think that would be excellent. And then let's have opportunities already lined out for those who take the course, or whatever format that looks like. But have specific things that we need help with this, and this matches your talent and your time available. And maybe it's something very, very small, or maybe it's a bigger project, or maybe it's something that we need 2 or 3 people to work on. And maybe it's not a lifelong commitment.
No, it's like you find a new team, a new family, a new community to work with in harmony.
And that's kind of what Pastor Ross was talking about too. We need to rebuild the temple, but we don't need to rebuild the temple like Ezra did. Not that kind of temple, but the temple of our working relationship, our outreach in the church. That can be
maybe he could call us to a new change in our outreach.
Yes. Absolutely.
Or to refine what we already have. I mean, there's many callings, many opportunities, but which one is for us?
And we will help you do that.
which 5 is for us, which 10 is
Which
for
five
us.
is yes, which 5 is for us, and we will help you find that.
That's right. There's a
We
place for
promise
everyone.
we can help you do that.
That's right.
Oh, well, like Debbie said, we will be making sure that you have specific activities that you can join us, either online or in person. Lots of opportunities for 2025 to refresh our mind and our hearts, our spirits. And there's that exercise class.
That's right. A new you.
A new you, complete. Yeah, we can help you have a complete new you, and it will benefit the church and the members and our outreach as well. So let me close with the prayer. Father, thank you for the opportunity to have a new start. Too many times I have strayed from my relationship with you. In times of distress and worry, I choose to try and handle things on my own. Moments of frustration, anger, and sadness have flooded my body. In those conflicting times, I chose to stay away from you. I neglected to seek your help. Father, forgive me. You are the way, the truth, and the light. I ask you once again to guide me on the path to a new start in life. Thank you for searching and finding me again. Thank you for never leaving me alone. Amen.
Amen.
And we will take him with us into 2025 because we can't do it alone.
And we'll see you next year.
Oh, yeah. Happy New
Bye-bye.
Year.